There they go into the back. The blue line on. We have a race, and Satnova's beaten Pure Steel out by a length and a half.
Welcome to Talking Trots, hosted by Morts and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
The sensational Sydney sider, Seals to Sam, comes off the back straight. He's a bucket load of alliteration, this fellow.
Scott Bomber Hill will join the boys to look at the Friday night meeting at Gloucester Park, and Hayden King will find the winners for the weekend's racing.
Here comes Quinny. I'm the mighty Queen is 4 deep and letting go.
Sit back and enjoy Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley.
I'm the mighty Queen is just in front. Dasher VC can do no more, and the West Australian champion has done it again.
Yes, and hello, welcome to another big edition of Talking Trots. No Michael Radley tonight, but I'm joined by one of WA's most astute form analysts in Glen Moore. Good evening, Glenn.
Good morning, Morts. It's great to be here again. Rad is obviously busy today. We've got an early start tomorrow at Gloucester Park, 4:07 or thereabouts. I think first two races on Sky 2 for people tuning in. But that's not a bad little experiment either to test out how turnover goes in those first two races, 4:07 and 4:45.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the turnover is starting a little bit earlier. Now, last weekend was a very tough last weekend for both Bomber and Ollie. Bomber down 7 units last Friday night and all seconds in the multi. Ollie just the one short price favourite, so not much joy there either. As always, Glenn, was a great night of racing last Friday night at Gloucester Park. Mungatahi, driven out hard by Dylan, found the front and was always going to be hard to beat in the first.
Yeah, didn't that change very quickly, Morts, when Mungatahi beat the one horse out, which was a big question mark. What was going to happen there? Once he led, dictated the race, it was all over.
Certainly was. Nice drive by Dylan. Then Jetstar got caught out wide early, but really patiently driven by Denny Roberts out there wide. Finally went on to score. It's found it a bit tough over recent starts, but that was just a nice patient drive.
Very, very patient. When that action was occurring early, Denny stayed out of it, and she moved up once they backed off, and Ira Poole pushed to the lead at that point. And Denny had that race pretty well under control after that bit of early work. Ira Poole was slightly disappointing, but you could probably understand that it was once Jetstar was there quickly alongside, it was going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, just a really good patient drive. And then very nice drive also by Emily Savelko to land Rolling Fire from the 1-1. That was a very nice field. It was a good race, that.
Yeah, it was encouraging for Rolling Fire to come back. It got beaten at previous start, probably a touch unders. Did over-race a little bit, I think. Has been over-racing a touch, but was beaten by a fairly good horse last start. But encouraging to see Rolling Fire back in that type of form. Was very authoritative, 155.6. Did it quite comfortably.
Yeah, nice drive too from Emily Savelko. Then Finvara, very well rated in front by Junior. Ran them off their legs in the end to score a very nice win.
Yeah, the key there was Finvara getting the lead. It came out of the gates probably the fastest I've seen it, Morts. Flew out of the gates and had the good horse Jumping Jack Mac alongside him, but it always appeared to be travelling really strongly, Finvara, and had it under control. Mind you, Jumping Jack Mac never gave it away.
No, just a very, very good drive. Junior did run them off the legs in the middle stages there. Talking about great drives, another great drive by Kyle Symington to land Wave Rider from the breeze and take out the Pearl. That was a very confident drive.
Yes, Morts, and a lot of confidence from Ryan Bell too during the week about Wave Rider on this show as well. I think he had a lot of confidence. Wave Rider had come forward nicely, and there was some confidence in the betting about Franco Encore running a race. But Wave Rider had that under control. And when it popped the question by Kyle Symington, put the leader away and was very authoritative at the end in 27.8.
Yeah, certainly driven by Kyle like he was a person with so much experience. It was just an amazing, it really was a great drive.
It was.
Really good. And then he backed it up in the next race. Queen in the Corner was a very tough win. Another great drive by Kyle for Ryan Bell to bring up a race-to-race double.
Yeah, Morts, this horse has been putting the writing on the wall, Queen in the Corner. It was a tricky little read early as to whether Queen in the Corner would get the lead. Again, a bit of patience there, never got involved in that early burn when Sweet Vivian tried to get Brule out of the gate, and then when Queen in the Corner then moved up and got the lead, had Nullarbor Navajo close enough to be concerned about it in running. It sort of looked like Nullarbor Navajo would probably get the leader, but this horse has gone to another level. 155.4 and fought Nullarbor Navajo off late and was very impressive indeed.
Yeah, certainly was. And then great drive, Trent Wheeler on Raynette in the Team Bond Champagne Classic to upset the favourite Captain Sterling with Dylan Edgerton Green on board.
Yeah, and the filly against the Colts too there, Raynette. Previous week on face value leading, copped the pressure, didn't handle it that well, but pinged out of the gate, very good tactical drive. Took the sit on Captain Sterling. A few worrying moments for the punters there early when Captain Sterling got crossed, but was able to regain the lead when American Major was running out early and popped back off, got around, looked the winner. But Raynette just mowed it down. Very impressive, really, for a filly to do that in 158.2. And just the way it went to the line, it's got a good long-term future.
Yeah, great drive by Trent. Really liked the win by State of Heaven. Debbie Padberg stable, really firing. Great drive by Shannon Savelko. Home in 27.8 and 28.4 from the breeze.
Again, knowing your horses probably wasn't his ideal position, but the horse has got toughness, clearly, but he rated that horse, got the leader, Lucid Dreams, who did a little bit early, but got the breather, 32.6, 30.7. On face value, a touch under Lucid Dreams for sure, but State of Heaven went very big to hold out Codebreaker, which looked dangerous up the straight but couldn't get past State of Heaven.
And in the last, Naming Lights brought up a winning double for Debbie Padberg and Shannon Savelko.
Second last, I think.
I skipped over one there just to confuse. But no, it was a great double for Debbie Padberg and Shannon Savelko.
Yeah, Naming Lights. Shannon took the punt, burnt out of the gate, got the lead, and got the money. Cloud 9 was the previous race where got over Rock Me Over, Dior's Cavalry Call. It's been knocking on the door, Cloud 9, and just got the right run. The favourite was very disappointing. Velocipede looked like it was travelling well too, Morts. But first up, 2,500, just found the pinch up the straight and stopped, and Cloud 9 went over the top.
Yeah, that might get its chance tomorrow night. Gloucester Park Friday night, a training double for Ryan Bell and Debbie Padberg. Like I said, the Debbie Padberg stable really firing at the moment. Also driving doubles to Kyle Symington and Shannon Savelko. Also Friday night at Wagen, a training double to Hayden Reeves and a driving double to Ashley Markham and Chris Pale. Saturday night at Northern, training double to Brian Ferguson, driving double to Shannon and driving double to Stewie Mack. Monday at Pinjarra, training double to Kim Prentice and a driving double to Mitch Miller and tonight's guest, Gary Hall Jr. And Tuesday at Gloucester Park, there was absolutely nothing. Let's go back to last Friday night. Great win by Finvara, well driven by tonight's guest, Gary Hall Jr.
To the turn, 27-1 the third quarter. Around the bend, Finvara in front. Got away from Jumping Jack Mackey, can't get to it. Diego gets to the outside, but Finvara, the one they've really backed, raced away from Jumping Jack Mack. Diego to the outside, and then Hampton Banner and Wild West. But it's all the Finvara home and hose here for Max. And Finvara goes home to win it well from Jumping Jack Mack and Diego and Wild West Galactic Star.
Great win there by Finvara last Friday night at Gloucester Park. And on the line, we have the winning driver of Finvara from last Friday night, Gary Hall Jr. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mort. G'day. How are you and Glenn?
G'day, mate. How are you going? Finvara, very impressive last week.
Yeah, he was. We've always talked about how he's the sort of horse that would be capable of that in 3-4 when he could finally find the front, and yeah, he was able to fire out Friday and get the job done, which was good to see.
Got out very quick, Junior.
Yeah, he did. He surprised me even. He's always been keen up to the gate, but it's been a long time since we've used him like that off the arm. So to see him come out that well was it was a good surprise.
Encouraging thing too, Junior, about clearly he's been in the doldrums a little bit with his form in terms of some issues that he's had in the background, and it's hard to get him back to that premium form when you're racing against top-class horses. And because the other night he came out like a rocket, as you suggested, and had to beat a good horse, Jumping Jack Mac. The last 3 sectionals very quick, 28-6, 27-1, 28-6. So that was encouraging the way he went to the line, and Jumping Jack Mac, of course, never gave up.
Yes, super run, firstly, from Jack. I thought I had him off the bit a long way from home. See him continue to chase me down the straight was, testament to how well he's actually going lately. He's strengthened right up and turned into the horse that we always hoped he could. But, Finn it was really good to see him finally get him into that grade. As you say, we've had a lot of problems with him. There's no easy runs when you're in that class, so get a run, work out for him like that, and a good draw, and be able to find the front was the key to him winning. But it's hard when you got a horse like him who can continue putting up good runs, but you don't actually get a win on the board. It gets quite frustrating.
Yeah, no, it was certainly very good to see him finally get one. Always shown a lot of promise over his entire career, and it was very good to beat what was a very good field last Friday night. Now, June, you've been away for a while. You've been back for a few weeks. How was the holiday up in Exmouth?
Yeah, really good. It's probably the highlight of my year, going up there with Justin and the boys and getting a bit of fishing done. And it's always something we look forward to get away that time of year and get some nice weather in. We used to go at the end of winter. But this time we went before winter hit, so not really looking forward to winter at all now after spending 12 days up there in the really nice weather. But we had some good times, good fishing, good company, and it's time to get back into it now. Yes. I'm not hitting my straps as well as I'd like, Morts.
Well, interesting you say that, Junior, because looking at tomorrow night's card, I think it's a perfect opportunity for you to bounce back. You've got a very, very strong book of drives kicking off in the first race, which is an early one at 7 minutes past 4. So don't forget to set the alarm. You've drawn Ambitia in race number 1, drawn the pole there. Nice field, but should be pretty hard to beat in that, I would have thought.
Yeah, she's quite a nice filly, actually. I think she's definitely up to the class, particularly with the barrier draw advantage. So we can get her out fast and she's able to hold the lead. I think she'll be pretty hard to beat.
Junior,
I wouldn't take too much notice of her run on Tuesday. She got back in the field over the short course. They ran a really quick mile. She never got into it, so probably be right up her alley on Friday night. So, as you said, though, it is a really good field. Madam Publisher and Exceptional Armour. Exceptional Armour out wide look the testing material, but some other good horses as well. But I think the draw brings her into calculations.
Junior, 2 things there. The first up run, Ambitia, you're a little bit... probably the worst negative in the parade ring about its chances. Atlas the Titan was drawn inside you and got the breeze outside Relatively Armour and controlled that race, went very big. Atlas the Titan in the 155.6. What was noticeable there was when you pulled out Ambitia, didn't handle that home turn at all. The fact that you're on the rail here, is that an issue for tomorrow night? The fact you're on the rail here tomorrow night, the confidence level of pacing better. Obviously, the horse didn't pace too good around that last corner.
No, she didn't. Even the previous corner, but can't really put my finger on why she did that. She was sort of paced good for the other part of the race, but as the tempo went right up, she struggled. So I'm not sure why. I think on the rail should definitely be better, and I think. Having things on more of her own terms and her running her own race out front will be advantageous to the way she gets around the track.
Gate speed, you're confident there. Did show a bit of gate speed the night Waterloo was outside you and you came out under triple wraps, really. There was a quick one, might have been Relatively Armour inside you. You came out on turns with those horses and grabbed up when it was clear you couldn't get the lead. Waterloo just kept pressing forward at that point. Showed good gate speed that night.
Yeah, she has got good gate speed. I'm pretty confident she's got the gate speed to hold up. I guess Relatively Arm is the one that would be first on the set. But if we hold her, I think we hold the rest.
Very good. And then as we go into race 2, out a little bit wide there in gate number 8 with a horse called Captain Bligh. Looks like he's got his own bag of tricks, this horse. He seems a bit unruly at times, but there's certainly no doubting he's got a lot of ability.
Yeah, he's a hard one to drive. Mort's, he's hangs pretty bad. And there's no real reason for it. He doesn't hit himself anywhere or hasn't got any issues or anything like that. He just has trouble one off the fence. So, he's not going to have the luxury of being on the rail Friday night either. So, I think he'll definitely fight out the finish. But Stewie reckons last start he was a lot better. He made a few little changes on him and found him to be somewhat better. But he had a much different run than he's probably going to have Friday night. So, I expect Winegum to be pretty hard to beat. And Captain Bligh and Hale St. Louis from their bad draws look good class runners. So it should be a pretty good race, but I think he'd be in the top 3 for sure.
Yeah, Winegum's the interesting horse, isn't it? Because it did over race first up and caused some drama. In the trial the other day, Winegum settled a lot better, made some gear changes and was able to come out lead and then take a sit. You would have seen that. You were in the trial. The interesting part there is Cowboys and Bandits as well. Probably have a look. Frankie J. Holden likes to get forward. Probably have a look. Kyle Harper. So I guess you could wait for that to unfold, and then I guess you'd really want to keep Hale St. Louis behind you.
Yeah,
but maybe not on your back.
We want to keep him. Yeah, I thought those horses might come out, the ones you mentioned, but I thought Winegum had the speed to hold them and find the front, and from there, Gloucester Park probably becomes the one to beat. But I think if Captain Bligh got to the breeze and Winegum didn't go as good as we thought it might, then I can definitely see him winning the race.
Yeah, an Ideal Tomato race 3, you've drawn 1, you've taken the drive there instead of Ira Pool. Last time these two met, Ira Pool sat outside Ideal Tomato, put him away in fast time, the 156 and a bit mark. Do you think Ira Pool's maybe not in that form to be able to replicate that run?
I got talked into this one by the trainer, to be honest.
Right.
So it's all resting on his shoulders.
Michael Young, very confident.
Yeah, he sounded confident, happy with the horse's work, but yes, if Ira Pool sits outside me and does the same, then he's got some questions to answer and some money to pay back, I'd say.
Yeah, because on form in theory, you'd expect him to do it again, but it's a different race and a few weeks in between those two runs. It'll be very interesting. Other than him, Lucid Dreams comes out of the gate okay. You'd probably expect it maybe in the 1-1?
I'd say so, yeah, and that's, I guess, Ultimate Baxter. I'm not sure what he'd do, whether he'd push forward as well. But
got a hood on.
Yeah, as we know, Ideal Tomato's pretty quick off the gate as well. So you'd expect him to hold up pretty easily, and then Ira Pool to work to his outside at some stage.
Horse you've done very well with, Celesio Matuka. Got an awkward draw, barrier 8, in a very strong field, but the horse is well and truly up to it. It's a very hard race to read, isn't it? Codebreaker drawn 3, looks the likely leader. It beats City, depending on trainer's confidence that you're talking about. Michael Young with Beat City. Level 15 horse dropping back into barrier 1 with the dollars last 5. El Daytona there as well. Rock and Roll Artist, enormous amount of gate speed there, and some tactical issues there. Magnus Victor. You've got Mickey Taker as well in that race, stablemate. Rock and Roll Artist, Magnus Victor, and Mickey Taker, and also Dominus Factum, the backline draw. Very, very tricky early. Is he going good enough to be able to work here and win? Clearly, there'll be a bit of pace early. Yeah,
there seems to be a lot of speed there early. I'm not sure it's the race I want to get too involved in early, given his first up off the freshen up. He's working really good. Was really happy with his last hit out at home. Worked with you so fine actually. they both went really good. I thought it was a race where Your So Fine might be the one that works forward and proves pretty hard to beat in that position. I was leaning to sort of driving Celestio more so how he was driven last start when he was set up and he come with one run and was able to get the win. So any early speed will be beneficial, but like you say, it's a cracking field. It's a really good race, and I don't know exactly how he gets into it. Maybe on the back of a horse like the Mickey Taker or something like that, depending on where we end up in the run.
Track work with the month off, Celestio, the track work indicates he's at that level that he was at when he beat Rolling Fire in the 156.4.
Yeah, definitely. He's probably looks a little bit better than he did when he was racing last time, but his work seems to be the same, if not slightly better. Just he is hanging a little bit at home, which concerns me, but he's always done that, and he seems to be better on race nights than he did at home. But yeah, that's probably the one little concern.
Well, let's hope he brings his manners with him tomorrow night. Race 5, you're back on Finvara again after a short back up from last week. One scratching out of this field here, which is Blitzen By, so you will come into 3. You've got a couple of nice horses with a bit of speed outside, and While They Pray drawn the fence with Lindsay Harper on board. How do you see this playing out? Just try and get out as quick as we can like last week, Junior?
Yeah, I think so, Morts. I think I think the scratching's a big key to his chance. I'm not sure he would have been able to get past a horse like Blitzen By at the gate, and maybe in a race like this he might have wanted to hold up, but I guess While They Pray's got the speed maybe to hold me, but as we saw the other week with Jumping Jack, he was happy to take the sit. The way Finvara went last week might force their hand there as well to maybe take the soft option and sort of try and lock down second. But I think he'll be driven hard off the gate either way and see where we end up. But if we end up in front, he probably becomes horse to beat again. But yeah, definitely aggressive early.
Yeah, he's certainly going to be hard to beat if he gets the front. Listening to Michael George this morning on Tab Radio, very happy with While They Pray, how he's going along, but I kind of got the feeling he would look to do a similar thing as he did last time and maybe take a sit, so it does make Finvara very hard to beat. Still outside you've got Steal the Show, Hampton Banner, Wild West, Diego. Diego I thought was an improved run last start, and Wild West finished the race off fairly well too.
Yeah, I was really happy with all of them really, but Diego, yeah, he's sort of working into the form we know he's capable of, and he's just one of those ones that's going to get. He's an opportunist when he draws well. And Wild West, he's just got his hoof on the till. He's pretty much in the Finvara bracket at the moment. He's just a draw away from winning.
Yeah, View Breeze, it certainly brings a lot of other horses into the race. Steal the Show, Wild West, Diego, they come into it, don't they? If you end up breezing.
Yeah, it throws it wide open if I don't end up on the rail in front. I would say if I didn't lead, that Wild West nearly becomes the biggest danger, the way he went last start.
He didn't it find the line. Went really good.
Steal the Show as well, I would say.
Yeah,
good. Because he's probably going to be closer.
Exactly.
Now,
Morts, go.
Now, Junior, what can you tell us about Montana DJ in the next in race 6 for the very powerful Michael Young stable? First up, what's he had to say about him, how he's coming along?
Yeah, he seems quite confident in him. He's had the 2 trials. The first trial at Byford was just okay. Had a lot of trouble getting best out of him. I felt like he had plenty there, but he didn't want to offer much late. Michael was a bit concerned. He said that was nothing like his work. Been sort of putting good horses away on the track, and he seemed a bit worried about the trial. I suggested that maybe there was a bit going on there, that Byford's the same place where he does his track work and trials as Spark of the Fourth, walking around the middle of the track and things like that. Even though he's an experienced horse, he was just having a good look around. So he was supposed to race last Friday. The race fell over, and Michael decided to trial him again. And his trial last week was sensational. Yeah, he sat in the breeze and he over-raced a little bit for majority of the trial in quick time, and he won the trial quite comfortably and looked pretty impressive. So I'd say he'd be very hard to beat. His stand form in New Zealand was really good and seems to be a pretty reliable beginner. So, I expect him to be very hard to hold out.
Yeah, that trial, the second trial particularly, the first trial was a bit plain against Perfect Major, but then he ran the 157 in the breeze, 29.4, 29.3, 28.2, and the horse you referred to, Wine Gum, was in that trial as well, and I can understand why you're saying that he could be hard to beat tomorrow night on that trial as well. But he certainly got to the line really impressively. And when you look at Montana DJ's form in New Zealand, it's against some of the top New Zealand horses from his 2-year-old career all the way through. And of course, he's meeting the best over there later in his preparation. Akuta and Republican Party, those type of horses, was getting very, very hard. But dropping back here to the level that he's at here, and the way he trialled, you'd expect him to be very hard to beat. Frankie Major in there, one that you would have checked out as well. It trialled quite well as well in a softer sort of situation, but its New Zealand form also was very strong against some very good horses. Simply Sam, those type of horses as well. Simply Sam's racing at Menangle at the moment, going really well. And against some really top-class type of horses in New Zealand as well. I guess he could be a concern if he bounced to the front.
Yeah, it's a tricky race for the fact that that horse you mentioned, Frankie Major, if he gets to the front, I guess from what we've seen, you'd imagine he'd probably want to hold it. And then from my point of view, there's nothing I'd really want to sit on. And then if I'm in the breeze outside of Frankie Major, it really brings a horse like Tirana into the race. His last start was sensational. He had no right to keep making ground, and he got to the line really well. So even off the 20 metres, I expect him to be really hard to hold out with a safe beginning. So obviously, best case scenario, I think for us would be to be best out and get to the rail. I think if that happened, I'd be shocked if he got beat from that position. But outside of that, it becomes quite a tactical affair, and I think he could be quite a big run first up, but still be beaten and not be disappointed.
Yeah, the interesting runner, Bellissimo Quisto there too, ran the Don Randall Cup, ran 158.9 over the 2,631 metres. Went to Narrogin first up, was okay, but looked like it might have just needed that hit out. It's an interesting runner, isn't it? If it's in that form when it ran that time at Pinjarra, given the fact that it's drawn one, and it's another one that might want to hold the lead. Yeah,
I think basically out of those, Bellissimo and Frankie and Montana, whichever one got there is probably becomes the horse to beat in the race, just based on the fact that they're probably going to get away with it a little bit early, and from there then they become pretty hard to beat. So this horse I think will improve again off the trial a little bit. So it looks like a nice race for him. But like I said, he could run sort of second or third and be a really good run. And I think if he did happen to bounce straight to the front, then I thought it would be game over.
We look forward to seeing how he makes his WA debut. In the next, Ashan Girl, she finished up in the role of leader last week, which is probably where you didn't expect to be, in what was a very good field, and was just beaten by Rolling Fire with in the last couple of strides there. Unfortunately, hasn't drawn very well and got a couple of nice horses in this race here. Junior, how do you think her chances are tomorrow night?
Yeah, I thought she was really good last week. She did a fair bit of work to get to the front, then got some pressure, and probably in the run you just knew she had Rolling Fire was going to have to get over her. So not sure how we played this. I expect Queen in the corner to be really hard to beat. Her run the other day was super. heaps of work and was still strong on the line. You would have expected Nullarbor Navo to get over it quite comfortably, but wasn't able to get there. So she concerns me a lot. Hopefully she has to do a bit of work to get there or something like that and then work into the race. But small field will play into our hands a little bit, but I just find it hard to see how she beats Queen in the Corner, given the fact that I think she'll probably be in front.
Yeah, in the 155.4, Queen in the Corner, 2 junior, it just was relentless, wasn't it? Just kept pushing forward, got the lead, and then looked a shitting shot for Nullarbor Navajo, but wasn't able to get over it up the straight. I guess the mind goes back as Shan Girl to when you were back in the field and you pulled out. They backed off. The moment they pulled out, Vogue went for home with Miss Sassy a couple of starts before that, and it made it very hard for you from the 1,000 metre mark to get in the race. That could be a little thing playing in the back of your mind if you try and come when the leader lets loose into the bell.
Yeah, I think she was... well, that night, yeah, she was no hope, basically. At the 800, you could see that she was struggling out wide.
Yep.
The leaders have got away from her, but I thought this race on Friday, I just don't know, put her up there early, but I thought there might be a couple others that go forward. Parakeet might even be one of those, but with a smaller field, maybe we could wait for longer and drive a more serious trial. If the speed does come out of that, it's pretty versatile, so I'd be happy to put it early if we have to.
Miss Sassy did cross that night, did cross Sweet Vivian, but this time it's got Queen in the Corner in between them, so Vokey may not get involved with Queen in the Corner drawn underneath.
I don't think they'd think they could cross Queen in the Corner, I wouldn't think. But yeah, I'm happy for them to try.
Yep.
Yes,
I thought Eltoret might cross in the following race, race 8. Drawn 4.
Yeah, I had him crossing.
Yep. Confidence level after that one? Advantage,
Probably,
obviously, the 1 and Rock
probably
Me
advantage
Over.
a bit only one, yeah.
Rock Me Over, maybe.
Right.
Dropping a bit in class and went pretty good last week.
Yeah, he did go good. I think Eltoret, if he did lead off the arm like comfortably, I think they'd have a hard job knocking him off. Last run was super.
Declaration?
It sounded like one to me.
Yeah,
Thank
if the
you very
driver
much.
can get him straight to the top, then he'll be winning. There we go.
There you go.
Appreciate that. Then in the last, you've drawn barrier 9 in race number 9, Velocipede. Got a tough draw out there in a fairly even sort of field. Can we finish the night with a winner, June? You know we love to finish with a winner, so can you send us home with a pocket full of money?
Yeah, well, this sort of comes with a reputation that he probably hasn't quite deserved, I don't think. But last week I didn't really want to use him off the gate at all, given it was 2,500, and I know he can be a little bit weak late, but he sort of wanted to run the gate himself and figured that he would get there with his early speed. When Rock Me Over come around, he just got really keen on me. That all started hitting the wheels outside him and it set him off, and I just sort of knew a lap out we were in a lot of trouble, that he wasn't going to really show or find much late. But when he did fold up, he folds up bad. So that's probably the concerning thing. I got no doubt on Friday if I asked him to, he could probably cross them again from out there from this draw, but I think we'll go with a different approach this week and try and just save him up and use that speed late. He's quite fast set up, so we can get him to settle off the gate. And with a small field, no back line, we can get some sort of run into it. I wouldn't expect at the end of 2,500 a field of this nature to be getting home too quick. So I think from anywhere he'll be dangerous.
Yeah, just for the punters there too, where Junior Have a Go Joe will be drawn outside of that field with the fact that he's been put out of the draw after last start. So he puts him outside you as well. So I guess that takes a little bit of pressure out of it because he won't be I can't imagine them from out wide being able to cross, and maybe they will if you don't go forward.
Yeah.
That's the issue. When you look at a lot of these horses draw on the inside, probably Walsh is the one, Cole Symington, that might get involved. The other horses, the one's got gate speed, trit, bang, bang, but whether they want to hold the lead. Swade has to sit, Righteous has to sit. Walsh may go forward here. It's hard to see, and Wall Street Girl would be put in the race that had the opportunity, I would have thought.
Yeah, they're probably the only two you'd imagine looking at it. I thought Have a Go Joe would have definitely had a crack at him from that draw off the 5, but now that he's right on the outside, you'd probably imagine that'd be a task too hard. So, yeah, I thought definitely Walsh. The one I'd probably be mostly concerned about if it happened to somehow roll to the front would definitely be Wall Street Girl. Probably would say I couldn't run her down. Outside of that, though, I think even tempo in the 2500, I think I'll be close enough to get him to the outside, and he should look the winner at some stage.
Look at the winner. Well, we've had one declaration in race 8, which is Eltoret. So outside of Eltoret Junior, what's the one you would have a little something on if you're allowed to?
I'm going to say Finbarra. Too good last week to forget.
Very good. All right. Well, hang on. Glenn's got one more thing, then we'll send you on your way. Yeah,
just before you go, Junior, at Bunbury, you're driving Artful Mickey. I think, Mort, you actually own that. 3-year-old maiden. It's trialled very well. You're up against one that's got a bit of ability there. Oh, Mickey for Aidan de Campo as well, which is also trialled very well. That looks like a pretty good race, that particular one. It gives you a good feel, Artful Mickey?
Be careful what you say.
Yeah, he does. I think
Don't say too much, Mort said.
Couple of trials there have been fairly spaced apart. So, yeah, but he's, from what I remember, he does give me quite a nice feel. Got the big draw advantage on Aidan one too, so hopefully we can take advantage there and work him over at some stage when he tries to get into the race. But yeah, looking forward to getting behind him in a race, and a lot of pressure from these owners. So hopefully he can perform.
We've also got Spirit of Angel. Franco Western looks a tough race down there. Spirit of Angel's drawn one, but Ideal Muscle on your back. Franco Western's drawn the outside. I'm Lord Logan, drawn well there. And Cold Hard Cash in that race. Those two. And then you've got Northview Dance, which has drawn a good barrier in the stand from memory. 10 metres. It's off the front, basically, I think.
Off the front.
Yep. And then you've got later Flying Disco as well at Bunbury, which is racing quite well, actually, Flying Disco. Out of those runners, Spirit of Angel, Franco Western, Northview Dance, Flying Disco, what do you fancy there?
Well, I thought Flying Disco could nearly lead. Gets off the gate pretty good, and my first glance at the race, just thought even though she's drawn out wide 6, could nearly get across them. The way it went last start, that'd probably be enough to see it win that race. Northview Dance, obviously, chance with that advantage in the handicap of the others, and potentially leading and then being hard to beat. Franco Western looks tested in that draw. Spirit of an Angel is actually going a little bit better this time in, travelling a bit stronger on the bit, but I guess the problem there is her absolute best races have been when she's been able to lead, but leading in this particular race brings what looks like the favourite on her back right into play. So imagine he would have the kick late to get over her with her racing style.
Yep, with your Flying Disco, we got out of the gate very good over the 11.77 at Pinjarra and got to the line really strongly. I thought it went really good. So barrier 6 here might be able to, barrier 6 I think it is from memory or thereabouts.
Yeah, 6, yep.
Ping across maybe, I thought the same. So hopefully
that
happens.
Thought, didn't look like a great deal of speed in the race. Got there quickly. Probably should be enough to see it winning.
Well, Junior, it looks like being a good weekend for you. got plenty of good drives, so we wish you all the best kicking off tomorrow night at Gloucester Park, and then of course race 1 down there at Bunbury on Saturday night, although there is a fair bit of rain forecast down there for the southwest, so hopefully a lot of that stays away and we get a great meet down there at Bunbury. Junior, as always, you're very generous with your time. We appreciate it very much. Thank you, and have a good weekend and all the best. Good luck.
No worries. Anytime, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, Junior.
Gary Hall Jr., always very, very good with his time. Now, this segment is brought to us by Steel Blue Boots, Australia's leading supplier of work boots. Built for comfort, made for work, they are a mark of true skill. Designed for comfort, durability and choice, backed by a 30-day, 100% comfort guarantee. Well, Glenn, good chat there to Gary Hall Jr. Plenty of good drives on Friday night. So.
Yeah, very informative, and also covered the main dangers in those races and a few little hurdles that he'll have to cross in a lot of those races. Not that clear cut.
No, he's, like I said, he's very good with his time and goes into a lot of depth because he obviously does a lot of work every time before every time he goes out on the track. So he's aware of who he's racing, where they are and what their capabilities are.
Yeah, that's right, Morts. And I think in that situation too, a lot of these races are very hard to speed map for the drivers. They have to sort of, Celestio Matuka, for example, it's almost impossible to read that race until he's got to drive by the seat of his pants a little bit. A few of his drives are a little bit like that tomorrow night. If they work out well for him, I think he can get a couple of winners, but tricky. Yeah, no,
looking forward to what should be a good night of racing at Gloucester Park on Friday night. Now, been a bit going on during the week, Glenn. We saw the media release come out talking about the exciting new harness series to find the ultimate driver. Did you get a chance to have a bit of a look at that?
Yeah, I'd had a quick look at it. I think off the top of my head, I think it's February 2025.
Correct, yes.
And the slot holder pays $20,000, I think.
Yep.
And there's 20 drives over 2 nights, is that right?
Yeah, so there's 10 slots.
Yep.
At $20,000 each.
So it's $200,000.
Correct.
$250 prize money.
Yes, and there's racing over 20 different races across the, I imagine, across a couple of weeks there up there in Queensland to try and find the best driver. So interesting concept. Like anything, it's good to see that people are trying different things to try and get some interest in the sport. So it's going to be an interesting one. Yeah,
I think so. If we could attract a couple of international drivers as well. Tetrick was mentioned amongst a couple of others. McCarthy back from the States, a few different drivers, just to bring them here and have a crack. I think the horses get drawn by lots from the way I read it, so that the slot holders would draw the horses per each race as they go along, I'd imagine, from the field. So I don't know how I think they just get picked out of a hat.
Yeah, so to me it looks a little bit different in the terms of once you get a slot, then slot holders are free to negotiate with leading drivers. So so they're negotiating with the driver rather than trying to get the horse.
And then the draws will be either fortuitous or not, I gather.
I would imagine so. So it's going to be an interesting concept to see how it goes. And I think it's just something different, exciting, and like you said, if we're able to get the right drivers from around Australia and potentially international, could really add some excitement to it. So
the timing of it, February, I'm not sure. They would have had a good look at this. The Hunter Cup, from memories, in February. Probably they worked that out. I'd imagine that it's not clashing there. I did notice too, just in that presser, that if you win a race, the drivers get $1,000 for winning one of those individual races for a bit of pocket money as well. Look, I just see nothing but positives. They would have looked at the date, but it's very hard to schedule these things. I was wondering whether long term they'd actually schedule it into their carnival.
Yeah.
To attract the drivers over there for the carnival as well, and mix it into that. But they've obviously at this stage want to keep it clear of their carnival. But I could see some positives in maybe looking at that situation long term as well.
Yeah, look, it should be. It's an interesting concept. I do hope over the next probably 2 to 3 weeks that we'll be able to get somebody on board to explain it to us in a little bit more detail. But yeah, look, kudos to them for looking to try something different and create a series around finding the ultimate driver. So very interesting. Also interesting piece by Adam Hamilton, which you would have seen on Twitter during the week.
Regarding the HRV changes
to
the calendar, yes. Look, I listened to a podcast from Michael Feldgate did with RSN, and he interviewed Matt Isaacs, the CEO of HRV, and he went through it. So it's worth just for any participants in harness racing just to get an understanding of why these types of decisions have been made. If you look at it from the perspective of the forecasts are that wagering will drop 20% over all codes for the next couple of years at least. So that is a warning sign for all the codes. So HRV have been looking at, because of lack of performance in terms of their wagering of the last couple of years, they're looking at ways of getting around it. And they've had it analysed by Ernst & Young, and they've done a proper audit, and they've consulted the wagering companies and the participants regarding the cost of travelling, horse welfare, the closeness of the horse population to the venues and the best wagering tracks. Based on all that information, and clearly that RAWA are looking at that type of thing as well, because we have to look at increasing wagering, and stake money relies on that as well. So we need to sustain into the future. Now, what Harness Racing Victoria have done, they've changed the calendar to where the horse population is the largest and where the wagering performance is the best. So they've regionalised certain areas to race in the best time slots for those meetings, and they mainly will conduct night meetings for those premier tracks in terms of wagering. Mm-hmm. They've trialled a bit of it just prior to making the decisions, just to see what difference it's made in the last few weeks. And they've also already seen a 5% spike in wagering based on going to those tracks that gets the best result. Look, there's a lot of other factors behind it that the study produced. It's the cost of the travelling. They've identified savings of $2 million in administration costs for Harness Racing Victoria, the operational long-term cost about $2 million, and also in revenue, $1 million in revenue if these figures trend the way they think they should trend. So it's all really about a number of factors, but the bottom line is one of the major factors in terms of maintaining prize money and the future for harness racing, particularly trainers and drivers and owners, to be sustainable into the future, given the difficult economic circumstances. So it's a lot of it's about travelling costs. Welfare is another one, travelling long distances, horse welfare and participation welfare as well. And the calendars support prize money and decrease the costs. And the clubs, there'll be some modification to when some of the smaller clubs race, and they'll race mainly daytime, which will suit their structures a bit better and their turnover better during the day. The premier clubs, like we're faced here with, we find Pinjarra, for example, turns over very good money on a Monday because for our major punting audience, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock on a Monday is a terrific time slot for us during the day. But over East racing at night is a better, because they're already in that time slot, whereas we're 2 to 3 hours behind. So we need to race earlier. We're racing at 4:07 tomorrow night. So look, there's a lot of factors involved in HRV's decision, but it's very pragmatic. It's been well studied. We need to look at, in WA, the best way we can do it as well, in terms of where we know where our horse population is. We know the distances travel, the cost of getting to these places, and where the best turnover tracks are as well. So it follows that we have to be on the ball here with this type of information.
And as we've always been used to, some of our main races being race 5, 6, 7 on the card, maybe we've got to rethink that as well, because that was quite clear in what Adam was saying around, just programming some of these big races in terms of having the best draw card with horses to actually programming them much earlier in the evening, so they come off the back of the big Saturday race meetings, and in actual fact on some occasions in between some Victorian racing, and just having that earlier time slot to make sure they're just getting in front of more people, when there's 100%. More people betting. So,
and Cameron Brown is looking very seriously at these issues. This is why they've earlier start. When we can get early time slot on Sky, he's going to try and do it. What we need to work out is those first two races, Sky 2, whether they turn over as much money as race 9 and 10 in a later time
Sky
slot.
1,
and Sky
exactly.
1. But the indications are, we're going to trial it and see how we go. And tomorrow night, hopefully, will be a great example. The last time they did it, of course, it turned out we got Sky 1.
Yes, it just turned out to be a bit of a bonus last time.
Yes, it did.
But no, there's some very good points there, and I'm sure we'll be talking about those more as we move along. That was a big first segment, so we're going to throw to a break now, and as we do, let's go back to last Friday night and have a listen to Wave Rider. Brilliant drive by Kyle Symington to take out the Pearl Classic.
Come back on the inside, Franco Encore, and then Prince of Pain, and further back on the inside, Worlds Above. Wave Riders in front, though, drawing clear from Franco Encore. Quinton flies late from Prince of Pain, but a brilliant win to Wave Rider. Wins the Pearl from the breeze over the stablemate Franco Encore. Quinton absolutely rattled.
Hi, I'm Steve Sell from Loans 123. We are car finance specialists. We can help you find the loan you're looking for, your new car, and help find a home for your old one. If you want a new or used car but feel uncomfortable visiting car yards on your own, we can help and often save you money. For a stress-free way of buying and financing your next car, who do you see? Steve Sell at loans123.com.au or call 1800 100 100.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley.
American Monarch hung again. So around the turn, it's Raynette quickly sprinting up on the outside of Captain Sterling as they turn, and Raynette has burst up, taken the lead and drawn clear from Captain Sterling. Then American Monarch, but Raynette's going to cause the upset at $9 fixed odds. Kept going by Wheeler, and Raynette bounces back tonight, wins it well by 3 metres. Second, Captain Sterling.
Yes, very nice, very clever drive there by Trent Wheeler to score there on Raynette last Friday night at Gloucester Park. Now, we don't have our regular tipster on the show today, but we certainly have his tips. So whilst we don't have him live, we do have his tips. So we'll go through those and we'll get some comments there from Glenn. But before we do that, this segment is brought to us by Loans 123. Car loans, personal loans, travel, commercial loans. Who do you see? Steve Sell, the nude nut from Loans 123. Still doing things the banks can't, and you can contact Steve on 1800 100 100. Okay, so we're going to look at first race we're going to look at tonight is race 5. So we'll do have a market up for race 5, so we'll go through and have a look at the market on Tab Touch. Number 1, While They Pray, $5.50. Too Fast, Too Serious at $9. Number 3, Blitz and Buy is scratched. Number 4, Finvara, $1.70. 5, Steal the Show at $5. 6, Hampton Banner at $26. Number 7, Wild West at $9. 8, Diego has drawn the outside with Madison Brown on board at $8.50. So the short price favourite there is Finvara at $1.70. And just looking from our form analyst Scott Hill, race number 5, horse number 4 Finvara showed exceptional gate speed last week, and I don't think either of those underneath him will be keen to engage in a war. So he looks certain to work his way to the top again, and if that's the case, it looks a bridge too far for the opposition to run him over. He ran a 55.7 middle half last week and mirrored that in the way home, so he's right at the top of his game, and I'd expect him to make to go back-to-back on Friday night. Glenn, your thoughts?
Well, Junior was confident that he could press forward here and certainly test while they pray. Obviously, the interview tomorrow night, I think Matt Young's in the birdcage tomorrow night. He'll be asking the question of while they pray and others. That'll be very important to whether the $1.70 is the right price or not. But on the basis of the way he went last week, it's possible that while they pray, going to get the right run and take that option. But we'll find out tomorrow night when we interview Lindsay Harper. On the basis of him leading, you would think the 5 units, the confidence would be there.
Yes, the Bomber starting off with a big 5-unit bet there at Gloucester Park tomorrow night. Race number 5, horse number 4, Finvara, Gary Hall Jr. in the gig. And we heard from Junior earlier on, a 5-unit bet to start off. So let's hope Bomber's on his game tomorrow night and we can get ourselves off to a great start. Now, the next race we're going to look at is race number 6, when there is a market available on race 6 thanks to Tab Touch. The pole marker, Bellissimo Acquisto, $6. Number 2, Call Me What You Want at $41. Number 3, Frankie Major at $3 for Gemma Hayman and Chris Boak. Number 4, Montana DJ for Michael Young and Gary Hall Jr., the very powerful Michael Young stable there, $2.05. Number 5, Jill Mack, $61. 2, Bob Cracker, $61. Number 7, Diorce, $61. And number 8, Karana off 20 metres, $3.50. And just having a look at what Bomber has to say. Number 4, Montana DJ could barely have been more impressive at his 2 trial performances and obviously handles the stand. I would imagine he has been purchased with better races in mind, so think this is a lovely way to kick off his Aussie career. He broke 30 for the last 3 quarters in each trial, the last of which was while cutting the breeze. And whilst he looks a nice strong type, there is a turn of foot there as well. So looking forward to him stepping out and hopefully making a winning Australian debut. What are your thoughts, Glenn, particularly after talking to Junior a little bit earlier on tonight in the show?
Yeah, I agree with Junior, particularly about the second trial. First trial, Michael Young was a touch concerned about, and so was I. Looked a bit flat, one pace, but the second trial just went to another level, and I'd be expecting him to win. There are a little bit of contentious theories, I suppose you'd say, about what can happen early with Frankie Major, for example, but just what I saw in the trials, Montana DJ looked like a horse that's going to go through the classes.
Now, race number 6, horse number 4, Montana DJ. For the very powerful Michael Young stable, Gary Hall Jr. in the bike, and it's a 2-unit bet. Race 6, number 4, Montana DJ. Now, before we do go to the break, there was some good racing last week on some of the country tracks, Glenn.
Yep.
CD3 was a big winner, first up as a 5-year-old
yes.
In the last race there at Narrogin. No, it wasn't Narrogin. It was at
Wagen.
At Wagen, my apologies. Yep. Yeah, it was a huge win first up as a 5-year-old.
Yeah, and it did trial quite well in fast time. I think it ran 3rd from memory in a trial. Put the writing on the wall. Once it led down there, it looked very hard to beat. Actually paid very well. Yeah,
it went very well indeed. And a very close finish in the 5th with Lord Titanium just getting his nose in front on the line. Gee, that was a really hard slog. Cody Walrod had to get the most out of Lord Titanium and did. And yeah, what a finish. It was pretty
painful
hard.
Watch too for the short price takers there, because Lord Titanium, you can never 100% trust him to get to the line.
Yes.
And he has been found wanting a couple of times, but he managed to pull it out. He got crossed at the start. The punters would have reached for the scotch, and fortunately they survived.
Yeah, he certainly looked in a little bit of trouble at some stage. And for those that were listening closely enough to the show last week, In the opening race, there was a horse by the name of Adabito was thrown out as a tip. And
a declaration by you, Morts, I heard that.
It was, yeah, and it was a fairly nice price when it first opened. And
what a beautiful drive.
Yeah, and firmed into $1.90, so that was a
really
good win. Jocelyn Young, her stable, is just
going well.
In great form, really, really good
And that
form.
was an aggressive drive by Jocelyn. That took the other one out of the race, really. She took the punt and was aggressive, and it came off big time there.
Yeah, no, she's been in outstanding form of late. And then Saturday night at Northam, the win of Black Rock in the last was just massive, just streeted them.
It's the right field for him, annihilated them. You expect him to do it. The only thing about him in his career has been had his issues, and if Dot Smith can get through those issues and get a decent preparation out of this horse, it should be able to get to town and win in town. It's always had the ability, but it's had those little gating issues or niggles, whatever it was. We've seen it in trials a few times, but it's certainly got the ability and put them away very easily.
Yeah, no, it was a very big win indeed. Okay, we're going to throw to a break now, then we'll come back and we'll have a look at another couple of races there at Gloucester Park on Friday night. And as we go to the break, Rolling Fire was just too good for them last Friday night. Very, very well driven by Emily Savelko to get the cash.
27.5, that was quick. A Cownie Girl in front, but Rolling Fire has rolled up on the outside. Rolling Fire gets to a Cownie Girl at the 100-metre mark. Down the outside, Rockmeister, Lusaka, but it's Rolling Fire in front of a Cownie Girl. And Rolling Fire races home to win from a Cownie Girl on the inside. And third, give it to Lusaka.
New Mazda.
Yep, I love it. We got it from Bayswater Mazda.
I keep hearing great things about them.
They're fantastic to deal with. Great people, great coffee too.
At Bayswater Mazda, you'll always be well looked after. Visit the team today and find the best drive-away deals on new Mazdas and pre-owned vehicles. Driving is better with Bayswater Mazda.
So's the coffee.
Go and see Bayswater Mazda at the corner of Guildford and Garrett Road, Bayswater. DL 25174.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley.
Little Happy Fellas running on okay as they turn. Jetstar has raced up and shot to the front from the tiring Ira Pool out wide of Bricky's Dream. Little Happy Fella running a tremendous race, and then without the tar and Rascal, Jetstar's in front. Down the outside, Little Happy Fella. It was 28 for the third quarter, and Jetstar's in front of Little Happy Fella driving, but Jetstar's got the lead. Tonight's the night for Jetstar, and the Duchess has done it. Jetstar has won.
Yes, very good win there to Jetstar, and as we said earlier on, very patient drive there by Denny Roberts to Jetstar to finally get the cash. Good to see the Little Happy Fella. Another great performance for the Debbie Padberg stable. Absolutely. Again. So really found a new lease of life since.
Really franked the previous run, didn't it?
Yeah, certainly have. But great win there by Jetstar on Friday night for Duchess. Denny, as called by Richie Bell. Just before we have a look at Bombers Tips, this segment is brought to us by Retrovision. Lowest price guarantee for all the electrical stuff you love. And RAC members, you will save an additional 5% every day at Retrovision. And the big half-yearly clearance has just kicked off. So whether it's a big screen TV, a fridge, a washing machine, a new Apple phone, whatever it is, get in and see your local team there at Retrovision and let them know you're part of the harness racing family, and they'll certainly look after you there at your local Retrovision store. Okay, the next two races we are going to look at is race number 7 and race 8, and we do have a market up here for race 7, which is great. The number 1, Chili Punter for Gemma Hayman and Aidan DeCampo at $12. Number 2, All Aglow, also $12. 3, Sweet Vivian, Ryan Warwick in the cart, $15. Number 4, Queen in the Corner. Wow, what a very impressive win that was last week by Queen in the Corner for Kyle Symington and Ryan Bell. Outstanding. Goes around on Friday night at $1.70. Number 5, Miss Sassy at $15. Number 6, Don't Be Silly Chili at $41. Number 7, Parakeet at $15. And the outside is number 8, Arshan Girl, Gary Hall Jr., $2.75. We had Junior on the phone earlier on talking about the chances of Ashan Girl. From Bomber's perspective, race 7, number 4, Queen in the Corner, was very impressive last week. We did all the early work and was left vulnerable, but she refused to wilt when holding out Nullarbor Navajo. Nullarbor Navajo is in exceptional form, and she had the sitting shot last week and was unable to run this mare over in very fast time, and they gapped the rest. There are no Nullarbor Navajos here, so I think she can pretty well bully her way to the top and make it a carbon copy result. What are your thoughts there, Glenn?
Yeah, look, the repeats last week's run, Mort's, as Bomber alluding to, looks hard for Ashan Girl to make the ground up unless something happens early or mid-race that and maybe Queen in the Corner doesn't lead or has a tough run or something, but it looks like the way it went last week, the inside horse is likely to sit on it. And so maybe Paraquet can be outside the leader, maybe Junior will force to go there, but I still think on that run, if it reproduces it, it'll win.
Yeah, it was such a good win. Terrific drive, as we've said, from Kyle Symington, and just listening to Junior earlier on, as he said, he just finds it hard to see how Ashan Girl can win if everything kind of goes the way we think it will. So race number 7, horse number 4, Queen in the Corner. Bombers making that another 5-unit bet as well. So a couple of big 5-unit bets for Friday night at Gloucester Park. And the next race we're going to look at is race number 8. Race number 8, which is...
This is the Altaret race.
The WA Photon Diesel at Catalano Mobile Start Pace. And that is due to go at... sometime on Friday night. There we go. So race number 8. Here comes Sharky.
7:47 more.
7:47. Thank you. Here comes Sharky. $61. Number 2, Call to Arms. Mitchell Miller. $61. Number 3, Just Like Turbo. For Kyle Symington and Robert Abercrombie at $15. Number 4, Altaret. $2.20. 5, G Smith. $23. Number 6, Advantage, $2.50. Number 7, Cavalry Coal, $71. 8, Rock Me Over, $7.50. Number 9, Let It Linger, $12. And number 10, Gold Horseshoe at $10. So just looking at Bomber's comments here for race 8. Number 4, Altaret has some very good gate speed, and I expect him to lead here. I've been waiting for him to find a race where he can lead, and with Gary Hall Jr. calling the shots, I think he can be too quick late. Last time he led here, he was taken on and forced to run a 57 middle half, which left him a little vulnerable late, and he was run over in a 1:55.8 rate. I don't think he'll need to be running on any such time here, and should then have a nice little kick late in a very winnable race. What are your thoughts, Glenn?
Yeah, I agree. And Junior was very confident as well, with Bomber's comments very, very on the ball there, because Altaret did a heap of work and still held on nicely recently, and probably out of its comfort zone a little bit, and still fought on really well. It's going really well. I think if it hits the lead here, Advantage is the obvious one, and also Matt Scott's horse, Rock Me Over, went terrific last start. They're probably the other players, but I think if he gets the rail quickly, gets its great opportunity here.
Yeah, I think Junior was fairly keen as well. So race number 8, horse number 4, Altaret, a 2-unit staking plan. For there, now there's no multi from Bomber this weekend, but he thought for anybody looking to minimise the risk, they can just take Finvara into Queen in the Corner as a double. I think that's sounds like a fairly safe bet. Okay, well, we're going to go to another break, and then when we come back, we'll have a chat with Ollie and see what we can find around the countryside. So as we go to a break, let's have a listen to last week, State of Heaven, driven by Shannon Savelko. What an outstanding drive and win in the 7th last Friday night at Gloucester Park.
The Codebreakers closing in very nicely though as they turn, and then My Ultimate Baxter and Navy Street in the straight though. The Codebreaker has raced up on the outside of State of Heaven. It's State of Heaven and the Codebreaker. The Codebreaker, State of Heaven comes back. State of Heaven, the Codebreaker, State of Heaven just in front, and State of Heaven has outplugged the Codebreaker, and they raced away from Navy.
New Mazda.
Yep, I love it. We got it from Bayswater Mazda.
I keep hearing great things about them.
They're fantastic to deal with. Great people, great coffee too.
At Bayswater Mazda, you'll always be well looked after. Visit the team today and find the best drive-away deals on new Mazdas and pre-owned vehicles. Driving is better with Bayswater Mazda.
So's the coffee.
Go and see Bayswater Mazda at the corner of Guildford and Garrett Road, Bayswater, DL 25174.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley.
Come to the turn, but the margin is 5 metres and the leader is still going along pretty well. It's Adabitto in front. Princess Katie back to the outside. Adabitto drops into another gear, pulls away again late. Great drive, Jocelyn Young. 10 out of 10 goes on to win. Second was Princess
There was
Katie
something for the battlers last Friday night. Bitto for Jocelyn Young stable getting up and saluting, and if you were listening to the show last week, you would have got the tip there, but great win there by Jocelyn Young. Now, this segment is brought to us by Bayswater Mazda, and driving is better with Bayswater Mazda, and I can tell you that for a fact because I drive a Mazda 626, and it's a beautiful machine, very fuel efficient, very well appointed inside, and Bayswater Mazda, no better place to get your Mazda from. Great service, great range, great coffee, great deals. So get out and see the team out there on the corner of Garrett Road and Guildford Road in Bayswater. Now, joining us on the line is our form analyst, that does a lot of the country here in WA. He's done very well for us so far that he's been on board with us, and we'd like to welcome back tonight to Ollie. G'day, Ollie. How are you?
Great to be on. Hi, Maury. Hi, Morts.
G'day, mate. How are you going? How's your week been? Excited about the new concept, I guess, in Queensland, the driver's slot race?
The slot race, it's such an innovative idea. It goes alongside the trot rods concept which they've come up with in Queensland, which is sort of leading the way. I think bringing the country's best drivers and potentially the world's best drivers into one place can only be good for interest in harness racing and interest in Queensland harness racing in particular, which is really good for the sport.
We'll just send the best 10 WA drivers over there. That should do it.
I mean, we've got such deep driving ranks in WA, so I think, there'd be plenty of options if people want to choose from one of those. Obviously, Shannon Savalco, Chris Folk, and I think Gary Hall Jr. are leading the way in the state premiership at the moment, so they'd be the first three potentially, but there's plenty of others which are driving really well at the moment.
Yeah, certainly is. There's plenty to choose from here in the WA driving ranks, that's for sure. But it certainly looks like an exciting concept. So it'll be very interesting to see how it rolls out. We, hopefully we'll have somebody on the show in the next couple of weeks, which can just give us maybe a little bit more of an in-depth look at what it's going to look like. But certainly, in this environment, you've got to look at every possible way you can to try and inject some life and excitement into our brands.
Great idea.
So it's fantastic. Now, Ollie, we need some winners. We didn't have the best weekend last weekend, so we need a couple of winners, and they're racing Saturday night at Bunbury, and the first one is due to kick off there at 5:46 p.m. So what have you got for us down at Bunbury on Saturday night?
I had a pretty average weekend last weekend, but thankfully you declared Adabitto to the listeners, so hopefully they got something back there.
Certainly hope so. It's my one and only, so I think I'll retire after that.
Very good. Race 2. There's a couple here which I thought were interesting. The first one was Bank Notice. I thought 2 back, he probably just ran the race to beat Cover Note and started rolling really early and ran a pretty genuine tempo. Ended up missing the placings, but I think that was just sort of a result of trying to beat Covernote. Took a set last time and then was pretty competitive behind Covernote and Only Man Lou. I think this looks significantly easier despite the wide draw. I think he can probably shoot across and potentially lead them up, and if he does, he'd be pretty hard to beat. And then another one in this race, which I thought could present quite interestingly, is Pay Homage. Drew terribly last time, had been coming off a really long spell, outside back row last time, nearly impossible from there, but he looked to be tracking into the race pretty nicely, and once he got clearer, was just all over at the end, and I think could pay to follow second up here off that long spell. Bit fitter, similar sort of race. I think he could go all right at odds. In race 7, Lurzy, I think, has been probably a bit of a costly conveyance for favourite punters and punters in general. First up from a spell 3 runs ago was the even money favourite and could only manage second behind Chasing Cooper there, who had the cold sit on her back and quite a nice run, but she probably had a chance in that race. And but thought she was only then okay at Gloucester Park. But then last time I thought she was really, really unlucky. Gate 2 shuffled a long way back and then took off wide really early. And in that race, she sort of finished midfield. And I think an effort like that would see her hard to miss a placing here. So I think if she's around the $2 a place, I'd be happy to play around that and just have a small investment in the win, as she doesn't seem to win out of turn. And then off to the Central Wheat Belt, Calabarin in race 4. A horse that's been racing consistently, as it always does, Tucks and Tails. Drew terribly last start and got a long way back, but flashed to the line and was really good. 2 starts prior, I thought just the company was too hard. Little Happy Fella and Sky Lord, those two are just too good and got out of its ground and just couldn't quite get into it, which is no knock there. Back to Calabarin, looks suitable. I think can be put into the race.
So that's
on to race 6. Race 6, American.
Sorry, that was race.
American Cruise.
Sorry, Holly. So that was race 4, number 9. Tucks and Tails for Lang Inwood and Emily Savelko. And which race were we going to next?
Race 6, American Cruise. Been really impressed by this horse so far in its short career. 2 back, I thought it was really good behind Sorridare. Finished 4th there, which was racing off the pegs against some decent horses. So I thought that was a pretty good effort. And then last start was parked out in a pegs-dominated race and could only manage 4th, which wasn't a terrible effort either. Qualified from the stand in New Zealand, so I couldn't find any vision for that, but seems a pretty sensible horse, so I don't think that'll cause any issues and draws to advantage over its key rivals here. So I think if American Cruise can step safe, keep that advantage on Tiger Lou, will be really, really hard to beat in that stand at Calabarin on Sunday.
That's race number 6, horse number 3, American Cruise, for Sonia Zucchiati and Denny Roberts, and that's the Cunderdin Pace, the standing start over 2,500 metres there at Sunday at Central. What about Albion Park? Do you have one for Albion Park on the Saturday night, Ollie?
Won't make us wait too long for this one in the first race on a great card. We always have faith. I think it's going as well as it has in the whole time it's been racing in Queensland. It originally came from the Purden stable in New Zealand and I think was purchased for quite a bit of money and it's been a bit of a disappointing horse, but starting to go really well now. 2 back, was just beaten by Ragazzo Ditilli, who's then gone on to win really, really impressively, parked out in 153 over the mile, which was a great effort. And then last start, we always have faith, was left parked out after mounting a challenge for the lead early and was just pipped late by Back to Batuta right on the line. So I think here, if he can work to the top, I think he'd just be winning this race. And the horse that's drawn 1, Maywin Troubadour, I think in this sort of class, I'd be happy to take the trail on him.
So that's Albion Park Saturday night, race number 1, Always Have Faith. What number was Always Have Faith?
number 3, I think.
Race 1, number 3. Always have faith. Ollie, thank you very much. He's hoping you've found us 5 winners. The listeners will certainly be very happy. We'll settle for 4. So thank you very much for your time. Good luck and good punting on the weekend, and we look forward to chatting with you next week.
Thanks very much, guys. Fingers crossed.
Cheers, Ollie.
There we go, Ollie. Well, Glenn, that wraps up a fairly big and long show that we've had, but hopefully we've found something for the punters there. As we spoke about earlier, Junior was very good with his time, very in-depth.
Very good.
Got some good, really good insights there. Some good crossover there with Bomber as well, so a good level of confidence there. And then we've found a couple there at Central Wheatbelt on Cunderdin Cup Day, and a couple there on Saturday night down there at Bunbury. So hopefully there's something there for the listeners.
Yep, and Mort's the Retrovision Gloucester Park preview tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We're doing Gloucester Park in the interim with all the developments in at Rawa. And we should have Aidan DeCampo and Denny Roberts being interviewed tomorrow morning. All goes well.
Very good.
For the Retrovision Gloucester Park preview.
Excellent. They've got some very good drives as well on Friday night. So that will make for compelling listening, and that's tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, which kicks off at 8 o'clock, and at 8:15, of course, we have the TAB quiz, where you get a chance to win a $100 Retrovision gift card. And of course, we can't afford to miss Bray and Ethan's podcast. Last week we had the young boy Tregenza. Now his dad was a wonderful footballer. He actually ended up, I think he finished his career at East Fremantle, so he saw the light at some stage. But he finished up down there at East Fremantle. But that was quite a interesting chat with young Corey.
Yeah, very good bloke. Sat in pretty much that chair where you're sitting now, Morts, as we're sort of we are in the same studio for a couple of weeks before we moved to Gloucester Park. So
it's very good.
Yeah, he was a good lad, good chat as well. So hopefully the listeners enjoy.
It was a good chat. It sounded though there for a moment that you hadn't booked the studio long enough, because I heard a bit of panic halfway through, and I thought, this might not end up well, but fortunately you got through the show, and it was a very good one. So make sure you get along and have a listen to Bray and Ethan's podcast. You can get it anywhere you listen to your podcast. Very good. So have a listen.
We're going to have a crack at Scott Bomber Hill tonight too, because Essendon have got one away game about the next 10 weeks.
Yeah, but they wouldn't.
How'd you organise that?
They wouldn't know what their own homes look like at the moment. They've been doing nothing but travelling.
Oh, is it to make up, is it?
Yeah, make up.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't travel until the last round.
Nice free kick with your position on the ladder, though.
Yeah, always is. But yeah, they've done some of the hard yards, and they've got a big test this weekend when they go out and play the Gold Coast. So that should be interesting.
That'll be a tough one, yeah.
And interesting game over here in the West with the West Coast Eagles and St Kilda.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't want on form. You wouldn't know who to back there, but the Eagles probably local, kick back again, you'd imagine. But I just think it'll be a very low-scoring match, that one.
Yeah, I think I'm sure that the St Kilda coach is going to be shutting the West Coast down and making sure there's very little scoring. So be an interesting weekend of football. More importantly, will be a very interesting weekend of racing. As we said, we've got tomorrow night there out at Gloucester Park. We've got a great card with some really exciting racing. Then Saturday night down there at Bunbury, and Sunday we head off to Central Wheatbelt in Calabarin. So thank you, Glenn, for joining me tonight. Very much appreciated. And we should have Michael Radley back in the seat with us next Thursday night.
Thanks to Bray and to you, Mort. It's been a good show.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And until next week, it's bye for now.